And we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Stoyanova, and you're watching Travel Massive Live. This is our digital channel for our community to share ideas, to share knowledge about everything related to travel and tourism. In today's live event, we have invited 3 content creators to show us their blogs and channels, to tell us the story behind them, to share anything that can be useful and inspiring for either other content creators or travel brands or anyone who is interested in this topic. I can already see quite a few people joining us live from anywhere and everywhere in the world. We have people from Cape Town, Melbourne, Bangkok, London. So feel free to use the chat box on Travel Massive, or you can also watch the stream on Facebook or YouTube. And then we are seeing all the comments. We are seeing everything that is coming through. Also, before we start with our topic today and our presentations, I just want to share a few housekeeping rules. As I said, we are streaming live on Travel Massive, also on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. So you can see and you can watch the live stream from whichever channel is most comfortable for you. You can use the chat box to put your questions or comments or anything you want to share. Feel free to introduce yourself with your blog or with your travel brand so other people can easily connect with you on Travel Massive. I am following all the comments and all the questions that are coming through, so we will bring all the questions at the end of the presentations. This event is also recorded, so it will be available on the Travel Massive event page right after the live stream is over. Okay, so I think we have Robert from Mauritius. Wow, we have Tasmania, of course. We have New York. A lot of people are joining today. That's great to see. So I will now bring our speakers just for a short introduction, and then we will continue with the presentations. So I want to say hi to Stephanie, Analu, and Megan.
Hello.
Hi, girls. Hi.
Hello.
So Megan, if you want to just tell us where you're joining us from and what's your channel.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Megan. I am joining from Chicago, Illinois. Bright and early. Happy Wednesday. And my blogs are Moderately Excited and Color and Curiosity.
Awesome. Analu?
Hi, my name is Analucia. I'm half Peruvian, half Spanish, but now I'm living in Bogota, well, not in Bogota, in Colombia. I'm in Santa Marta right now. And my blog is called Viajar para Vivir. It means to travel is to live.
Thank you. And Stephanie, hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Martinez-Hans, and I am currently from Cape Town in the Western Cape, South Africa. And my blog is called Stephanie Martinez Blog, and I specifically only do small towns. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear all about your blogs and channels. So I guess we can get started. Everyone will have around 10 minutes to show their blogs, show and tell us everything that is interesting about it and how they started. So just to remind you again, you can use the chat box to ask any questions, and then we'll get back to them after the presentations. Okay, so Megan, feel free to share your screen and
Alrighty, we're live. So this is my first site called Moderately Excited. A little bit about me. I've always loved photography. I've loved graphic design. I love tinkering around with technology. I was always my family's IT person when I was growing up. And then I got a degree in journalism, and I also minored in business marketing and studio art. So I have concentrated quite a lot in photo journalism, and I thought I was going to go and be a National Geographic photographer, which, spoiler alert, is pretty hard, but I ended up in marketing. So I actually work full-time in content marketing for a software company in Chicago, and then I do all of this on the side, but I really have this passion for media and journalism and storytelling. So a little bit about my first blog. I had been practicing photography, darkroom digital for over 15 years now. And about 4 years ago, my husband was like, "What do you even do with your photos?" And I said, "I don't do anything with them." So this actually started as a place for my photos. So as you can see, I do quite a lot of I take photos with my iPhone. I take photos with my SLR. I have a Sony. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. One of my favorite posts that I did was this kind of quirky one called 5 Harry Potter Chicago Places to Go When You Want to Be a Wizard. So as you can see, I love taking all kinds of photos. So fast forward, the other thing I'll show you real quickly is that because I love journalism, I love storytelling, I love interviewing people, I started this series called Faces and Places. And so basically it was just to interview female entrepreneurs about their experience and how travel inspires them. And a couple of notable people that I was able to interview, one, Dr. Kara Cooney, she's actually an Egyptologist, a professor at UCLA, and a National Geographic author. So I went to her talk and I basically was like, I love you. Would you be interested in answering these questions? So I was doing these interviews. I was transcribing the phone calls, which took quite a lot of time. But it was so neat. And so, and then the other one is Pauline Frommer, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with. She is the brains with her father behind the, Frommer's Travel Guide. So she was just so neat. Fast forward now, 3.5 years. I'm out of breath because there's so much to tell. So I actually have an autoimmune disease called Crohn's. And so with the pandemic, I hope everybody is safe and doing well. I realized that travel was going to look a lot different from me. And, being kind of scared and having FOMO and knowing that necessarily, maybe domestic, maybe by car, but definitely I don't think that international travel is going to be that, near term for me. So I wanted to funnel all that energy into another project. And so Color and Curiosity is this platform where I'm focusing on interviews that inspire people to travel. And it encourages ongoing learning, and especially through travel, because travel is, as many of us know, it's one of the most incredible teaching tools that there ever was. So that was what I wanted to focus on. The other unique thing is that with my other site, I had a lot of guides, but I just, wanted to focus primarily on the personal aspect. So for example, with these places, if you go to Illinois, which I can't go to. So if I go to, So Illinois, the idea behind this is to have these like pillar pages of locations. And I'll get into that in a second, just why that's important. But then down through the guide portion, at the bottom, you're going to start seeing all of these interviews. So eventually my goal is going to be to go to a place that I love. Like I have LA coming up, and I know a bunch of people in LA, so I've been telling their stories. So the idea is that the people are going to be kind of around this, it'll be like a hub and spoke model. So it'll be like the hub of the location and then the spoke of all these people. And so, I just think that it is time for me to give this platform to other people who have really incredible stories. Many of them are in the fields of creative, technology, and travel themselves. And then also they're always using travel to be, ongoing learning. So a little bit about, just what I wish I had known before I started. So I talked a little bit about these pillar pages. I wish that I had understood that SEO was super important. So if you think about it, SEO is called search engine optimization. Basically, it's when people type in queries in Google and then their results pop up. And so if you are not writing to what people are actually searching for, they might not be finding your content. So you really have to kind of tweak it to just kind of understand what they're searching for so that you can answer their questions. The other thing that I really wish that I had known is just to start. I wish that I had taken the opportunity to do this back in college, but I didn't. And, I'm in a great place, but I wish that I had just gone for it and just started. I have learned so much along the way just by doing and just by meeting with people that I wish I had just started. The other thing is that social media is important, but it really isn't everything, especially because, At the end of the day, I read about this all the time. Social media could just shutter tomorrow. Like Instagram could just be gone. So if you think about it, you're building this community on your website. The content is extremely important. Your email list is really important. So make sure that you're building your email list. The other thing is that these things take a lot of time. I'm thinking about time. And so again, going back to, I wish I had just started, because it takes so much patience. You're going to have all of these ups and downs, and you have to make sure that this is something that you're passionate about. Not every day is going to be a good day. Not every day you're going to be, growing in your follower accounts or connecting with brands, and you have to ride through those and be patient, because all of this has taken me over 4 years, and I am nowhere even near some people's success levels. A question that I had wanted to go over: how do I monetize? So I monetize primarily through passive income through affiliate networks like Amazon, and TripAdvisor is through CJ Affiliate. And so I'm linking primarily in a lot of those, like in my guides in here, you'll see some of these links are bolded. So that's a great way to make passive income. But the other thing that I actually started being able to do is sell my photography back to brands. So I actually was able to visit Bloomington. So I went to Indiana University, go Hoosiers. And so I worked with their tourism bureau, and I worked to write this guide, which is on my Moderately Excited site. And eventually I'd love to catalog all of these amazing women in the community on Color and Curiosity. And so I was able to do this guide, and then they actually gave me the opportunity to be featured in their visitation catalog. And so this was something that I didn't get money from, but I started after that really aggressively sharing my photography. Aggressively is a bad word, but nicely sharing my photography with the community, and just saying, hey, I took all these other photos while I was visiting Bloomington. Would you be interested in this? And I've gotten so many no's. And I have thousands and thousands of photos that I'm like, was there even a point to that? Of course there was, because I was practicing. And so, that was the first opportunity. Fast forward though, I have created a relationship with Visit Idaho. And so I was able to go to Idaho, and you'll see that on my other site, but I won't go back to that. But I was actually able, first of all, they asked me if I wanted to contribute to their visitation guide for 2021. And of course I said yes. So they're actually going to take my photography and my writing. Secondly, because I went on that trip, they were like, is there anything else you want to talk about? And I said, yes, I actually had all of these amazing conversations with these women winemakers in Idaho. I would love to do an interview series. So I basically took my skill set of interviewing all of these amazing female entrepreneurs. And I said, I think this would be a really unique thing for, you to showcase on your website, because I know that you don't have any content like this. So I pitched 3 articles, and I got paid for them. And the other thing, and I'll go into this a little bit more about working with brands and bloggers, but they paid me well. And that is really important to me. It's been tough. It seems like everybody and their mother can do something like this. And so I would say, dig your heels in and know what you're worth, and don't make too many concessions to take the opportunities for no pay, because you are a creator and your time is really important. So make sure that you're getting, money for your time. So I was able to do this. So I worked with Visit Idaho. I'm going to be featured in their print magazine, which I'm super excited about. This is a little bit on Bloomington's. This is, again, it's kind of like this, but it's for Visit Idaho. So tips for working with brands: talk about your site to everybody. You don't know who knows somebody that could help you. Guest post, get on podcasts, get your name out there, network, go to networking events. Obviously, digital is better now, so we have events like this with Travel Massive. Don't be afraid to strike up conversations with other people about your craft. Then figure out what it is that you uniquely bring to the table and flaunt that. For me, I work in content marketing. I know buyer journeys. I know how to sell B2B. I know how to create lead magnets, all of that. So uniquely, that's something that I can bring to the table. And then the other thing is brands looking to work with people. Make sure that you're paying creators fairly. Their time is in their work is really important. And then the other thing is give somebody a fighting chance. So if you think that they have some great work, but they're maybe not to like 10,000 followers on Instagram, give them the chance anyway, because you might just be that fire that they needed to get started in something. So again, you can follow me over at Color and Curiosity. I'm on all Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and I'm going to come up with a couple of different fun series like Instagram Lives and also Moderately Excited.
Thank you so much, Megan. I know there's not enough time to share, all the things that we want to share. But if anyone wants to connect with you also afterwards, you can do so on Travel Massive. Also, we do have a question already in the chat box. If you want to, you can go take a look at that later.
Sure.
I really love your tip to just start, basically, and then you can learn many, many more things on the way. Nobody has, was born ready to do whatever they're doing. So I think that's really important to remind ourselves that. Thank you very much once again. We will bring you for the final discussion when we have all the questions from the audience, and then we can chat more about those things.
Awesome. Thank you.
And now I will bring Analu. Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Feel free to share your screen and tell us a little bit more about your blog and your channels, and then I will be back afterwards.
Great, thank you so much. Well, my name is Analucias. As I was telling you, I'm half Peruvian, half Spanish, and I opened this blog that is called To Travel is to Live, Viajar para Vivir in Spanish, in 2014 when I decided to travel around the world. Actually, I thought it was gonna be one gap year, only like 1 year, 1 year and a half, only one round the world trip. But at the end, I've been working with this blog for maybe like 6 years, even 7 now, I think. So I think one of the things that I realized that maybe it could have been very cool to know at the beginning is like, okay, this is not just like a year. You're going to do like money with this and it's going to take a lot of your time. So it's crazy how like things change and how you can do like a business with this. Something that I have to say, I think I never put like all the eggs in the same basket because I decided that I could travel. I can be like a digital nomad. I've been a digital nomad for several years, but I do have a background in digital marketing for maybe 10 years. So for me, it's not that bad, as I can do a lot of effort on my blog, earn money, work with brands, and be super professional with that because I do have the background. But I also had a lot of opportunities to be like a marketing consultant, sometimes with also the tourist office, the brands that I was working with. So it's super cool, but also with different brands. So I do have my own agency. I'm currently working for Google in Colombia. I moved to Colombia actually for this, and I went to the office like 2 weeks. And then at the end, it's like I've been working like home office. Now I'm in Santa Marta. But I decided to keep the blog. I mean, it's not like my main income, but because I really love it and I love to travel, but I also have some income. So I'm going to show you what I have in here. This is my blog. In my case, I do have like a kind of a strong social media because I know, as Megan was saying, it's super important trying to have your own platforms. And I know it's super true, but in my case, I always like also social media. I have like 80,000 followers in all my platforms. So when I sell my brand, I try to do it like in a package, not just like the blog, because I know SEO, it's super hard. I know having good pictures, doing a lot of articles, a lot of work. I love to write, but I knew that I could be like super good as well, like doing social media. So this is my blog. As I told you, it's not my main platform. And what I've been doing, as you can see, I've been talking the last weeks about what to do in different cities. In my case, like main capitals in Latin America and some in Europe as well, to spend, to visit after quarantine. So for me, it's super important, like working with, say, SEO and trying to see what people is expecting. So we are also, I say we because I have a team that helped me with this, because now I'm like kind of super full and super focused in another stuff, but this is also like a teamwork. So I'm also working and talking about staycation. So as you can see, I cover Colombia, I cover Mexico, I cover Chile, I cover Argentina, and so on. So I have a lot of content about different destinations that I've been traveling around. In this case, with my blog, I do work with affiliate marketing. As Megan also was saying, I work with booking, I work with travel insurance, I work with hotels, different brands, but it's not my main income. In my case, as I told you, on my social media, I do have a platform, an Instagram that is also 40K. I really like my Instagram because I think the way I sell myself is like super honest and super friendly. And I'm not like a bikini blogger, as you can say, but I just try to show what I'm living and what I'm feeling. And in my case, for example, I don't know, maybe we can check this one here. I try to write a lot because I love to write. So it's not just a picture with a quote, that it's okay if you want to do it that way. But in my case, it's just trying to share everything I feel about a place, about a moment, or about anything that I'm living in that moment. So I love stories. As you can see, I have a lot of highlight stories. And when I travel to brands, I try to do like a pack as I was telling you. So sometimes it's an article, it's a YouTube video, maybe 10 stories, 5 stories, depending if I'm visiting like a destination or I'm just working with a brand. I'm going to show you my media kit in a while. This is my Facebook. As you know, at least myself, I don't use it that much, but I try to have like the same content that on Instagram, but like now the community is not that much in there. I do also have my Twitter. I don't have so many followers. I have like 4,000. It depends because sometimes some people is super big in there. And it's the same content, and I try to have it. At least Twitter for me is like to having like a network and conversation with a lot of bloggers, to be super honest, and also having some traffic. But I don't like it that much. Now I'm super fan on Instagram, on YouTube. I also like a lot TikTok, and I'm trying to do a lot on TikTok as well. So I'm growing step by step. And as I was telling you, my YouTube channel, that if you are in here, you know that it's kind of hard, like earning a lot of money on YouTube. You have to be very big or having a lot of views. It's not about just subscribers, it's about the views you have on your videos. But I also try to share what I feel, what I like, the kind of videos that I do. For example, as I told you, I love to write. I love to talk like in conferences and everything. So in my case, the kind of videos that I have are also interviews. For example, I did like a series, like a special section that it was called While I'm Doing Quarantine. So all these videos in here, I was talking with an airplane pilot, I was talking with a freelance, I was talking with a psychologist, with a freelancer, so trying to talk about quarantine. And sometimes, as you can see, it's just me with like a guest talking about how is living in Madrid, how is living in Mexico, what we talk about all the influencer world. Is it dangerous to travel to Iran? Or, for example, what I did was like in 2014, living like a really good job and traveling around the world. This guy did the same. He was also like in a good company, started working in audiovisual and everything. So we are talking about this. So it's more like interviews or myself just talking to the camera because I really like it. I want to show you how I do work with brands. For me, as I was telling you, I do have a background of maybe 12 years working in marketing in really good companies. I've also been working in agencies, media. Now I'm working on Google. So I do have a background like really strong in all the strategist field. So, it's okay if someone that was studying something that is totally another field, it's want to be a blogger. But in my case, it's also cool having this background to try to sell my services. Because, for example, one of the tips that I can give you that at least I'm always trying to do is not just doing like a one-shot campaign. If they write me and they tell me, hey, do you want to put me like a do link follow or a do follow link, sorry, or do you want to put like a couple of stories of my brand? It's not like that, I rather like be an ambassador of a brand, working long term, and also trying to understand their goals and what they want to earn or they wanna achieve with my work. So I do have a media kit that, I just introduce myself, who I am, where I have lived, where I have been. I have some stats about my blog, about my community, Instagram. I do have another Instagram about food because I'm super foodie, Twitter, YouTube, and then I tell you why working with me. So I talk about my background, I talk about what I can do with you, my professional background that sometimes people really like, how are my followers, how can I help you, all the things that I think that I can be like super good. Also, I've been like interviewing different media, articles, rankings. So I think it's also super good to show what you have done. Some blog trips that I have been, some acknowledgements or prizes that I have won. That is super important also to share. Also, as Megan was saying, try to do a lot of networking. I think it's super important to have like a really big community worldwide. Prizes that I have done, rankings, some work that I have done. This is like my slide for international one, a local one, some tourist offices and companies that I have worked for, hotels, and different companies. So I think it's important to try to show your work to everyone and try to be super professional. If you want to be professional, it's going to take a lot of time. So just be aware that it's not just like a hobby and upload a picture every week or every month. You need to know a lot of stuff, but you're going to enjoy it a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot, Analu. That was very, very interesting as well. We have more comments coming in the chat box, but I just wanted to say to people who are watching us, if you have a travel blog, you can share it on the live chat below. Also, if you have a travel brand, you're looking to work with bloggers, you have a question, you can also introduce your business in the live chat so you can connect with more people. Thank you again, Analu, and we'll see you a little bit later. And I will bring Stephanie. Hi.
Hi.
Whenever you're ready, feel free to share your screen.
No problem. Okay, so hi guys, my name is Stephanie Martinez Hans, and I am the owner and founder of Stephanie Martinez blog. And I am from Cape Town, South Africa. And I actually started blogging when I was studying my public relations degree, and that was one of the skills that you needed to have in order to have that as a skill and know exactly how things are working with WordPress sites. And I actually had a different blog compared to this one. It was called A Bunch of Nuts Fell Out. And it was literally a platform where I wanted to improve my writing skills because I'm not the best writer at all. And I then became a fashion blogger, but I knew that I wanted to do travel and explore a little bit. And within my family structure and the friends that I was with, we viewed travel as always wanting to go overseas. Like that's how travel was portrayed to me growing up. And I knew I didn't have the money to go overseas. And I thought, what is the best way to travel without having the money to do so? And 3 years into my relationship with my husband, he bought his first car and we went to a small town called Jacobs Bay in the Western Cape. And we were telling people where exactly Jacobs Bay is, and a lot of the questions was, where is it? Where is Jacobs Bay located? And what can you do there? And on the weekend away that my husband and I had, we were like, why don't we make this a thing? Why don't we specifically just do small towns and show people that even though you might not have money to go overseas, that you can still explore your backyard on a budget. And that's exactly what we've done so far. Because I'm in the Western Cape, I it's a little bit easier to explore all 193 towns that there are. And so far, we've traveled to about 86 towns thus far. We're also making plans to visit the other provinces within that makes up South Africa. So there's about 9 provinces that make up South Africa. And I've been fortunate to have gone to 3 others as well. So I've got 5 more provinces to explore. And on my travel blog, you can see that it says Stephanie Martinez because small towns matter. And I really wanted to showcase that even though Cape Town is such a popular destination, there are other towns that make up the Western Cape that is just so important, that plays a vital role in tourism in general. And these towns also need some recognition. So on my platform, you'll see under local travel, because I am specifically only doing the Western Cape at the moment, these are broken down into different areas. And then I've got my national travel, which is the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Northern Cape. And I've really, really enjoyed doing this. It's something that my husband and I love doing. We both work full time. So this is literally a sort of hobby for us and something that we would love to share, that we actually love sharing with our friends and family and telling them, listen, this place is an hour away. Just go there and have a lovely weekend away, and you can do all of these things. And it's not that far, and it's not that expensive. I also do a lot of accommodations and some lifestyle. I'm also into wine, so I've got a separate wine Instagram account as well, because South Africa is one of the best wine regions. So these are some of the brands that I've worked with before, and I'm hoping to work with them again as well. And at the moment, I do not really monetize my blog because I have 2 full-time jobs that take up a lot of my time. And so 98% of the time, my husband and I, we fund all the these travels ourselves. And then there are that 2% where it might be a trade exchange with a accommodation, or there are some partnerships and brand deals that I work with these much bigger companies. And we've really been enjoying it. One of the biggest campaigns that I was on was about 2 years ago, and it was with Muscle Bay. And what I loved about this campaign was that they didn't just choose, one particular blogger. They chose someone who is a couple. They chose someone that is doing family travel. They chose someone that is a solo traveler and one that's an adventurer. And they really did tick off all the boxes in terms of, okay, if you want to go to Muscle Bay, but you are a solo traveler, what is there for you to do? And I really enjoyed it. It was a week-long travel excursion, and we worked like literally, our itineraries were so full that it was like from like 8 o'clock until like 9 o'clock in the evening. We were busy at all these places and seeing all these things. And for me, this was an amazing campaign to work on with Muscle Bay Tourism. I also have a YouTube channel, and at the moment, it is a variety of things. I do share a lot of my travel, but I also share some of my vlogs, like what I do in a week. And I also am busy working with, I also did a blogging series about 3 weeks ago, and I just spoke about how I manage a full-time job with having a blog. Is blogging expensive? And I really just wanted to talk about those general things as well. And you can follow me on any of my platforms. I am on YouTube, Instagram, also on Twitter, and I have such a love for photography because I grew up with photography. My father is a camera technician, and of course I grew up with that. And yeah, I think that one of the things that I wish that I knew when I started blogging was that it's such a lot of work. I don't think a lot of people looking inside that it does take a lot of time, but there's a lot of things that you need to know. And you're wearing a lot of hats. So, you're not just a social media manager for yourself. You're also an IT person. You're a web developer. You are learning about SEO. And and I'm actually so glad about learning the skills because I can actually implement it in the jobs that I work in now. I am actually a marketing and communications officer for an IT law firm, and I'm also a social media manager and photographer for a textile store. So I've got my hands quite full. But yeah, you are more than welcome to hit me up on any of my socials. And yeah, that is me.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. I really love the idea of how you pay attention to small towns. I haven't seen such a niche blog for that topic. I've always seen like off the beaten path or less popular places, but this was really interesting when I saw your profile on Travel Massive. So thank you for sharing. I will bring now Megan and Analu, and then we are going to discuss a few questions that we received on the live chat. Hello again. So we had a question. I know that Megan already answered in the live chat, but let's just have this for the recording afterwards. We had a question from Ellie. How did you approach the tourism boards for potential partnerships? So if you can spare like 1-2 minutes just to summarize your tips, it would be great.
Sure. So the first thing I will say is, like I said in my talk, and as Analu and Stephanie mentioned, blogging is a lot of work, and it seems that we actually all have full-time jobs that we balance these with. So I think patience is key, and much like that, building relationships with brands and partnerships and tourism boards takes a lot of time. But I've always found that the ones that I take the time to nurture the relationship with are always so much more valuable. So it's really important to invest that time, do the due diligence, do the research on the tourism destination. What kind of objectives are they looking to achieve? How can you bring things that will be valuable to them to the table? So bringing those up and kind of going that extra mile, I think will take you really, really far. And then it's all about getting and putting yourself out there. A lot of my interviews in Color and Curiosity, I always ask, like, do you have any advice for mentorship or networking? And everybody's like, just ask. Like, the worst they can say is no. But most of the time, people love to talk about themselves. People love to talk to you, and they'll do it. So I think it's really just like getting yourself out there and having the courage to do it. But, you are worth that. So make sure, and I'm happy to give tips on like pitching, because it took me a really long time to refine that. But going to networking events and just literally telling your mom, brother, sister, family, friends, coworkers, you never know where your opportunities are going to come from.
Awesome, thank you. If anyone wants to add something, feel free to do so.
I mean, I totally agree with what she's saying. I think it's super important, like giving you like a chance to show yourself. But I also realize that nowadays, with a lot of influencers in this world, because I know we have been working for a lot of time, sometimes they put you in the same bag, and it's like, okay, no, one more influencer that they don't even know what they do, And sometimes I have like these issues because it's like, I have a lot of strategy. I'm gonna give you like add you like some value. So if you just show all the work you have done and all the value you can add, I think it's super important, because then you can I have people, I remember I've been in South Africa last year for my birthday, and the hotel that I stay with, he told me, the image that I have about bloggers and influencers now is super cool because of you. So it's like, thank you for that, because I think I'm professional. I'm doing a lot of good work, and I think it's important trying to give like this add value to show yourself. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Let's just share a few resources for SEO. So I think someone already shared in the chat, but can you just drop out some tools and resources that you're using to enhance your content?
Yeah, so I do a lot of work, actually. So it's funny, I think Stephanie and Analu both mentioned that things that they work on in their blog also go into their work. Mm-hmm. And I find that to be very true. So at work, I'm learning more about SEO. Keywords Everywhere is a really great tool. They had to make it free because there was spam issue, but it's like $10 and you get like 10,000 credits and very cost effective. It's almost free. Google Trends is really good. And then if you are able to set up a free account, you have to put a credit card in, but you can use AdWords Keyword Planner and you can actually see all the search volume. So that's a really great tool. And then also there's tons of courses out there. very obviously they're really great. They can cost money. I found that SEMrush, Moz, and then also Google have really great trainings and videos and things on SEO.
Yeah, I also just want to add, I mean, there's a lot of tools about it, but also Search Console, I think is a must to have like installed on your website, because you have a lot of information. And sometimes people just don't know where to start, and just like realizing how the people is getting to your website and then trying to do the main research, I think is super important. So yeah, Search Console is super useful for me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I think this question we can start with Stephanie. So Ian is asking, since blogging takes so much time, it can be 24/7 and all time consuming. How do you structure your time and keep a blogging routine?
Oh gosh, that's the question I get asked a lot from like friends and family. I don't know. I literally just have to find the time, because I typically have a 9 to 5 job, and then I have a part-time job which I sometimes have to work in the evenings, and I work on a Saturday as well. So usually Sundays are the days that I do all the work that I need to do, and I have to sometimes carve out time for social media during my lunchtime so that I can maybe respond to things or post something. But it's quite difficult. I don't have a specific routine or schedule say, okay, this is what I'm going to do on Monday, this is what I'm going to do on Tuesday. I'm actually just going with the flow because it is really, really difficult. Or what I've learned is that it's just too difficult to have a schedule. I don't know what the other do, how they do it, but for me, I'm just, wherever I find open time, I make time for blogging.
We have another question. How do you motivate yourself in the challenging times of running a blog? So, Analu, do you want to take that?
I mean, we do have, at least me, up and downs all the time. And now with quarantine, it's like, what am I going to talk about? I'm just like sharing my 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and just feeling like stressed about like, I'm not traveling again. But I do think, at least myself, I need to be motivated to write or to share. If I don't feel it at the beginning, I used to post on Instagram, for example, every single day. And then I realized if I don't feel it, I'm not going to do it. I mean, sometimes people ask you, are you okay? It's like, yeah, sure, but I'm doing my life, So sometimes what it works better for me is just feeling that I want to share something. And for example, sometimes like, now I want to do a video about this topic. And it's just incredible because you can feel myself like sharing with a lot of passion. But I don't want to feel like I need to talk about this issue. I need to talk about this because you can read me and say, this is not the real Analucias. So it's just trying to have like this emotion inside yourself and just share what you have for everyone.
I think Analu brings up a really great point, and Stephanie just mentioned this as well. So it's kind of this mix of how do you balance and then how do you also find time? For me, with my first site, because I work full-time too, and I basically bookend the before, the lunchtime, and the after of work, and then all weekends are basically all blogging. I burnt out like 3 or 4 times, and it was to the point where I was like, I'm unmotivated, I don't feel like doing this. So I actually took a break. I just completely stopped, and now I've learned that is so important. It's so important to listen to your intuition and like, are you really feeling this or not? Is this like true? Should you be doing this? And so now I'm much more likely to take full weeks off because it's there for the long haul. It's, this is something that takes if you really want to be successful, it's going to take a long time. So just make sure it's sustainable the way that you're balancing it. I've started creating days of blocks where like Monday is off, Tuesday's on, Wednesday's off, Thursday's on, Friday is off, the weekends on of working on my blog. It does creep in. Because as Stephanie mentioned, there's always something to do. But
we have another question coming from Fuat, also from Cape Town. As a travel blogger, do you only take on paid jobs or do you work on trade exchanges too? I think that's one of the most discussed topics in this world, right? So whoever wants to share their tips, feel free to do so.
I'll go first. I don't, like I mentioned before, 98% of the time, my husband and I, we fund everything ourselves. So if a paid thing does come in, a brand wants to work with us, by all, we will definitely go for it. Who wouldn't, say yes to anything that's being paid? But I think it all depends on you. For me, obviously, I am, I'm not after the money, and it's something that I enjoy. But then again, I'm talking from a person who gets two full incomes into the household. So, I think it all depends on what you decide. If you want to do something that's paid, or you want to just do a sort of trade exchange where you're just staying at an accommodation and you are going to just write and take pictures for them. I think it's something that you would have to decide for yourself. But then again, I'm talking from someone that gets two full incomes every month. So I can't speak for people that have like a freelance type job if you are a full-time content creator.
I am
Can
coming
you repeat
from
the question? Sorry, Maria. I got you first. Sorry.
Yes. So, do you accept only paid partnerships, or you also work in barter exchange terms? Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Megan, you
yes.
can go.
Oh, I'm coming from a similar perspective from Stephanie. I do work full time. My husband works full time, so I don't necessarily have to take that into consideration. I will say though, this taking pay or barter is a really good exercise in figuring out what brands actually align with what you believe and like what your blog is about, what your audience cares about. So that's something that I really try to consider. I will take opportunities if I think that it's going to strategically help me open doors. But I've become a little bit more discerning just because my time, everything takes so much time. So I've just kind of had to hold off a little bit more on just complete barters. But I have found that many of them have opened doors to paid opportunities.
Yeah, I just want to add something. I mean, I have a lot of friends or people that I know that they accept everything that is paid. And to be honest, maybe half or 60% of the opportunities that I have, like sponsorships or small campaigns or anything, I just say no, because I don't think it's aligned with my values or my community. So yeah, hopefully I have a salary and it's not all my income, but my friends were saying, this is my main income. Yeah, but you can see yourself, you're not comfortable with the place, you're not comfortable with the brand. It has nothing to do with travel. So in my case, I try to be like super picky with the brands that I work and realize, is it okay for me to work with them? Is my community have like any value with that? And if not, I just say no.
Yeah, great tips. Joy is asking what platforms are you all using, but I think we're all using WordPress, right? If someone is using anything else, just let us know. But okay, we just wanted to confirm that. And then we have a question from Michaela, I think is her name. Do you have any affiliation programs that you would recommend? Do you use, directly, you work directly with websites or with just collaborative websites that offer various affiliate programs?
I can start. So Amazon was the first one that I joined, and I will say they just be really diligent about using it because there were definitely times that I forgot to link things. And so basically it puts a cookie onto the person's web browser and then it follows them around for a specific amount of time. And then you make a commission on anything that they purchase. And so I found Amazon was really great because it was very versatile. Like if I have accessories that I'm packing or if I have books that I'm recommending or things like that. And then CJ Affiliate is kind of this umbrella affiliate network that covers like TripAdvisor. And then somebody actually mentioned something called AWIN, AWIN, and that's also another one that I actually haven't come into contact with yet, but want to explore now. So that's kind of the idea. You have to apply to these networks and they have to just make sure that your website has good content and is like constantly updated, and then they'll accept you, and then you can actually start working with different brands within the affiliate network.
In my case, I sometimes rather like working directly. I mean, I'm in a couple of networks or affiliate networks, but sometimes I just work like directly and it's okay for me. Yeah. with booking or I don't know, as you said, like Amazon hostings, travel insurance. And sometimes, I mean, if you have a good relationship and good earnings and everything, then you can do a lot of stuff with the brand. So it's also cool because you're not one of the bloggers inside the umbrella of the affiliate network. If you have this relationship, maybe they can sponsor like a talk, you can do more stuff with these people. So it's also cool as well.
One other quick one that I came in with my new site, because it's so focused on education and ongoing learning, I've actually started working with a lot of online learning platforms like Skillshare and Coursera and Creative Live. And Skillshare is really great because there's actually I think it's a 2-week free trial or like 30-day free trial, but you actually make a cash commission on it. So that's kind of a neat one to check out. It's called Skillshare.
Awesome. Janine just shared in the live chat that she's an AWIN representative. So if anyone is interested, they can also get in touch with her. I think we can take one last question, and then we can wrap up the live event today. It also aligns with Ian's question. So it's basically about how did this situation in the last few months affected your content creation, and did it also shift your audiences? Do you think about any permanent changes in your content strategy, like anything that would be useful? Please feel free to share. Stephanie?
In my instance, because I specifically do small towns, it's so much easier for me because travel has opened now and it's in my backyard. So it's probably like, visiting towns are like an hour to an hour away from my home. So it didn't change that much for me. In the time that we couldn't travel at all, I think a lot of us were sharing things that we were doing at home. Now a lot of us are working from home. I'm only even going back to the office next year. So I'm permanently at home. And so it was just sharing that type of tips, like, what you're doing at home, what you can do to entertain yourself. And, a lot of us were sharing, or what I've seen was that we were sharing what travel things you can do when travel does open up for everyone else. So it didn't change much for me generally because, like I said, I don't go overseas. So I think it worked in my favor because now I can do that much more road trips than anything.
Awesome. Megan?
Yeah, in my case, I think at the beginning it was a shock for everyone because we weren't sure about what is going to happen. So the first weeks I launched like while I'm doing quarantine, so interviewing everyone, one day yes, one day no. And I remember like 2 weeks after everything starts, like, relax. I mean, you don't even know for how long it's going to take. And we are living like a pandemic, I mean, this is not like something that you can take super soft. So I have weeks that I realize I don't want to share anything, so it's okay. And sometimes, okay, I'm going to do some interviews, like some specialists. I'm going to try to focus in SEO, what people is going to do like after quarantine. I also did like a really cool video about Peru. I put together 20 bloggers, Peruvian bloggers, to talk about the 24 cities we have in Peru. So it was a really cool video, like everyone talking about the whole, like every state, for example, in the United States, like every city. So I try to think more like midterm instead of like just becoming crazy, because I have friends that they didn't post anything for 3 months or 4 months, and it's okay. It's totally understandable, but I think you also have to be like thinking super fast and realizing that we don't have an answer. We don't know when everything is gonna reactive again, but try to give content to the people that is also expecting something.
Yeah, so my approach changed pretty drastically. Like, for example, when everything changed in March, we were supposed to go to Egypt, and I had been dreaming about that trip for like my whole life. So I was like, okay, I got to think about this differently, which I had been noodling on my interview site, Color and Curiosity, for a really long time. I actually bought that domain when I thought I was going to change the name of my Moderately Excited site to that. And so things kind of aligned, and I was like, what better time to work on a project that I really want to funnel this passion and is telling other people's stories, because personally I'm not going to be able to travel. So and then having an autoimmune disease it's been really stressful, and it's funny because that's actually triggered by stress. So I'm just like, all right, I gotta zen it out. But yeah, my approach has just changed because, again, I'd always been interested in people's personal stories, interviewing them. And the other thing is this whole experience has made us realize how connected we all really are as people. And so wanting to, rather than only focus, like this is a personal preference, but rather than only focus on my own voice, I wanted to just kind of amplify it to other people's stories. And I think that need for human connection is going to be there. And so that's kind of why I wanted to spin what I was working on with like the destination guides and then interviewing the communities around them is kind of the focus that everything changed.
Thank you for sharing. We do have a few more questions in the live chat and also on our YouTube and Facebook streams. But I think we can wrap up the live event for now. And I can kindly ask Stephanie, Megan, and Analu to just hang in the live chat a little bit more after the live. So sure. Feel free to answer any of the other questions. I want to thank you really much for sharing your stories and taking the time to tell us a little bit more about you and share tips and anything useful for other people. It was very interesting and inspirational. The recording will be available, as I said, on the Travel Massive event page, so you can rewatch, you can also reshare. And thank you. I want to wrap up with a few last words, but if you want to say anything before that, feel free to do so.
Thank you for having us. This is wonderful. Always happy to answer all questions. So feel free to connect with me and I will just spew out what I know.
Yeah, totally. I think it's a lot about, sorry, Stephanie, go.
I was saying thank you so much for having me, because I was telling, when I first got the email to go, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I've never done anything like this before. And like, what are people going to think? I've never been overseas and I only do small towns, but I'm actually, I'm so glad that I've met you guys as well. Because, like you said, there's so many content creators and influencers that is popping up. You really can't keep up anymore. So it's nice to connect with people on this type of platform and see what everyone else is doing, outside of South Africa. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, my last tip is just, as we were saying before, like for everyone that is watching right now, like do a lot of networking, try to do a lot of benchmarking, try to be there where everything is happening. I think is the most important tip. And also, at least me, feel passionate about what you're doing. In the moment that you don't feel that you like it anymore, maybe you have to take like time for yourself and say, okay, I'm gonna take a break for a while. But if you feel passionate about what you're doing and what you're sharing, people is gonna like feel it and everything is gonna be clear. So just that.
Thank you once again, ladies, for sharing your tips. And we can connect with you on Travel Massive and all the channels that you have listed there as well. So I will say bye to you now, and then I will share a few more things with the live audience. I just want to give a shout out to a few upcoming events that are happening on Travel Massive platform. Toronto is going live tomorrow, August 28th, to share brand building tips for Pinterest. Yangon chapter is also going live tomorrow. They're going to talk about pivoting in the pandemic and how to adapt a business for domestic travelers. Also next week, there is a panel discussion on how Southeast Asia travel is rebounding with our Bangkok chapter leader, Rick Gazarian. So feel free to go to Travel Massive, click on the events and join any events that you find interesting. And also don't forget to fill out your Travel Massive profile so people can connect with you more easily. Thank you for joining and see you soon.